Okay, my name's George B. I'm the President, CEO, and Director of US Gold Corp. This is a company centered in United States of America, a development project in Wyoming, and two phenomenal exploration projects in Nevada and Idaho.
George, good to see you here in London, out of your natural habitat.
Yeah.
I think last time I saw you in a core shed and enjoying yourself.
Absolutely. No, we've been very busy developing CK Gold project. We're fully permitted. We're ready to go. What we will be seeing in the short term is our feasibility study.
Okay.
The feasibility study, with current gold prices and copper prices, and now, interestingly, the silver price coming up. We've got a small silver component, but it all helps. Obviously, we anticipate seeing a little bit of inflation on some of the capital cost numbers, operating costs, but that's more than offset by the increase in metal prices.
So, feasibility study, so when will we get to see that?
I'm thinking January. You should see that in the public domain.
Okay, so and what's the kind of meaningful moves in that feasibility study from the previous economic study? What's been important to you?
Well, what's been important is that we would have been further along had we just stuck with conventional flotation. However, we looked at the Jameson cells, the Gold Corp technology, and that has demonstrated itself to give us a little bit more recovery. It's a smaller footprint in the plant, so we save a little bit on the capital costs, and then also the power costs are a little lower. So the Jameson flotation technology, and then additionally we just made a switch from conventional plate and frame filtration for our thickened tails to continuous belt, a jawed Viper system. So I think those are going to be very interesting. The next thing is, even this month we're breaking ground on the access road, with the final feasibility study, we can raise the remaining capital for the project.
Well, let's just remind people about the kind of infrastructure. I had the pleasure of going up there and taking a look around.
You're always welcome, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I'll take you up on that.
Okay, no, it's interesting.
Most people idly offer that, and they don't expect anything. I will be showing up. When I took the journey from town, it's about 20 minutes away from site. Paved highway, paved roads all the way up to the project. So when you say, breaking ground, what are the other things that you're going to be doing in terms of preparing?
Okay, so look, as you're well, you land in Denver International Airport, and an hour and a half later, you're on the project. So we have the interstate highway system. So we're about 2 miles off of pavement, and then we've got a 4 mile road to construct. So what we wanted to do is just get our entryway sorted out. So the access will be ready to go for when a lot of the heavy earth moving equipment starts. But the location is is really superior from the perspective that there's a lot of competition for labor at the moment, and with our location, people can go home at night, live in Cheyenne, go home at night. There's professional sports, just down, an hour and a half away down in Denver. So we're very competitive on the labor side. And then being in the center of a mining hub, it means that we haven't had to build a whole host of warehousing and critical spares and infrastructure with our OEM suppliers in vicinity.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of like service providers, which I think we saw as we drove past various points and train lines and so forth. So it's all kind of good from that perspective. You expect the cost to go up from a very low base.
Yeah, no, look, and that's precisely it. So a lot of times what you'll see with the project is that there's a huge strip ratio up front, which you have to capitalize. Veladero, which built for Barrick, and Purina, we had to build in power lines. Well, the power line is going to come in from a local substation, and the power providing company is footing the bill with a demand charge for the infrastructure. As I say, it's a very sort of simple operation. So our initial capital is pretty low. So from that perspective, it's like real estate, location.
Absolutely. No, that was quite apparent. The feasibility study, we'll announce the market in January. You're obviously looking at some of the numbers now and getting yourself set up for that. In terms of personnel to execute said plan, where are you today? What more do you need?
Well, look, obviously, I've been in the business for 40 odd years and building mines and so on. We do need to start building up our cadre of people for the long term. But with the contractors that we have, with the consultants that we're using, we've got a lot of experience and bench strength, and we've selected some really super folks at the moment to carry us into construction. And over the course of the coming year, we're going to see that mine management group come to the project.
So what's that actually look like in real terms? Because at this point, we've seen a lot of companies kind of start telling a sort of nearer revenue story. And I don't mean it's not going to be tomorrow. There's a build phase to go through. So I'm interested in the ability of that team to execute. How does one sequence that?
So as I mentioned, we're Treasury at the moment. We're fine. We're going to be building the access road out of Treasury. Financing comes in the first half of next year. The heavy earth moving equipment rolls in. And we will get a lot of the topsoil stripped, gross earthworks. We will then see essentially the folks start with the heavy civils, and then into 2027 the equipment starts showing up ready to be placed onto the civils that have been put in place. Towards the end of 2027 we're starting the commissioning, so production comes in at 2028.
We're here at a conference. We're here at the Resourcing Tomorrow in London, East Coal Mines and Money. A lot of people, I've seen them downstairs in reception when we were sort of all grabbing coffees together. Some heavyweights here. They're looking for specific types of stories in a very buoyant market, admittedly. Gold prices up, silver prices up, copper prices up. Great time to be having these conversations. A lot of competition, though, because there's only so much money. So what's your message to those folk? What are you here to say?
Well, look, from our perspective, we're going to be producing a copper gold concentrate. There is a deficit for the smelters at the moment of good concentrate. Our concentrate is very clean, no impurities which really draw penalties from the smelters. And so from that perspective, we've got off-takers who are very keen, let's say,
right,
to grab our production.
And where would they be based in relation
well, look,
to you?
Lamentably, there's not too many smelters in, but we've got Kennecott just down the road, the Horn up in Quebec. But if you're down to Hermosillo, you're shipping over to Asia, and there's plenty of opportunities there. So, and really with a high precious metal content concentrate, perhaps Asia would draw the better prices.
And so you're taking through the concentrate. I'm surprised that there's not more. The more people you can speak to. Yeah, well, locally. Do you know what I mean? I know it's been a while, and the sector's been sort of hit hard, and etc. But I'm surprised there's not more movement from the kind of US.
No, there's a lot of
groups.
US groups are interested in the resource and the company. Or?
Well, resource. Well, like we're talking about how do you monetize? Okay, in some groups kind of set themselves up not to actually build. Others say we'll build it and then they shall come, which is always an interesting strategy. And how long do you want to hold on to these things for? Because you guys have been very good on the capturing of projects, exploration, and so forth. And I know you're a builder, so many business models here.
Look, from our perspective, you can count on one hand the number of fully permitted projects in a safe jurisdiction like the United States. So we understand the rules of the game in the US. So, quite frankly, I've worked in the majors for many years and the mid tiers. There's been a dearth of exploration. It's obviously coming into fruition now, insofar as with the current metal prices. But the time frame to get a project from explored to into production is so long. So I think that we are pretty vulnerable because people need additional resources for their inventory. But I'm not looking over my shoulder. The thing is that our team, I have built mines before. We're just focused on bringing our CK project into operation.
Remind me of the numbers on that. What was the target?
Well, look, okay, so we've stuck to an initial 10-year mine plan. 10 years means that we don't involve Army Corps of Engineers or the federal government in any way, and we're going to be producing about 110,000 gold equivalent ounces per year for that 10-year period. But it gets bigger. We bottom out in mineralization. So, there are additional resources, but getting that initial project valued, permitted, into operation, generating cash flow, then allows us to do the additional exploration on site, so we can expand the project to depth, and also start putting money towards our exploration projects without dilution.
Well, there's the key, right? I think a lot of people trying to engineer a situation like yours, and many don't have the assets to be able to do that. But what they can do, and what you may do, is to bring in someone else's balance sheet to kind of partner you with this exercise, or not. Or is the market so buoyant that cash is cheap and there should be no issues finding this money if you want to?
No, look, we're here actually talking, and we've had a lot of folks following us along the journey. I think they're ready to put money into the project, so we can develop, we can sell our concentrate, we can sell forward, many avenues to financing. We would also look to seeing a partnership. Frankly, as you go into production with one particular asset, it's very simple, low risk, but it's always nice to have the next assets lined up, so you've got a production profile.
Well, absolutely. And getting to that cash generative phase as quickly as possible is critical, especially when you've got a portfolio like you have. We've not talked about those yet.
The thing is that after South Africa and underground gold and open pit copper, I started out with Barrick, American Barrick in those days. Yeah. When Gold Strike
again, apparently.
Yeah. Well, when Gold Strike was a hill, not a hole, and I look at our Keystone asset, just 11 miles away from the Cortez complex, and you saw the 4 mile announcement recently from Barrick. We've got all the same kind of parameters, the same geology. We've got excellent prospects there, and certainly what we hope to be able to do is really then, with CK Gold up and running, turn our attention back to Nevada, because quite frankly that's where the huge resources
a big prize
really are.
Because I think with CK you've kind of got the 10-year threshold, and beyond, which is great. The bare minimum for bankers to go, it needs at least 10 years. You got over that 100,000 ounce threshold. That's fantastic. But the real prize, in terms of scale of opportunity, seems to be Nevada. It's where people want to play.
Well, no, that's true. And as I think back to the early days of Gold Strike, and which actually made Barrick what it is today. We have the same sort of opportunity to find these huge, deep sulfide deposits. So we've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
So all the right rocks. We're fully permitted, ready to go.
Yeah.
But we've been very prudent because we pivoted the company a number of years ago. In 2020, when I came on board to US Gold, we pivoted from exploration because simply the money wasn't there for exploration to development of the CK. Now CK is ready to go. It's going to generate cash, and we can put that cash to work. In for this big discovery.
Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting it's not a good project. It's a very good project by anyone's standards, but there'll be cash to spare. I don't think you'll be able to deploy that amount of cash into exploration.
Heck no.
It's cash to spare, but the point is you can properly finance an exploration program for something, because like I say, it is a big prize. It's a game changer. It's a different quantum of opportunity ahead of you. So that's the task at hand. Right. Well, look, George, I better let you get back there. These are meant to be quick, short interviews because you're meant to be pounding the street and telling that story. So enjoy yourselves and let us know how you get on, okay?
I will do. And by all means, come and see us again.
Will do.